In February 11th, 1963, a famous American poet wakes up early in the morning. She's rich, successful, adored by millions. She has 2 beautiful children sleeping in the next room. She quietly prepares breakfast for them, carefully placing the food where they'll find it when they wake up. Then she walks to the kitchen, grabs wet towels, and methodically seals every gap around the door and windows. She approaches the oven, opens it, places her head inside, and turns on the gas. Her name was Sylvia Plath, and before she died, she wrote, "Dying is an art like everything else. I do it exceptionally well." Weird flex, but okay. But here's what nobody tells you. The Sylvia Plath you know from her poems, that's only half the story. The real one involves affairs, betrayal, a cheating husband who drove not 1 but 2 women to kill themselves the exact same way, and a family that's been fighting over her legacy for decades, literally vandalizing her tombstone. You don't want to miss this. To understand how Sylvia ended up with her head in that oven, we need to go back 31 years. 1932. Sylvia Plath was born at a very young age. Shocking, I know. Her father, Otto, was a German immigrant, and she absolutely adored him. They were inseparable. So when Sylvia turned 8 years old, Otto was so excited that he threw a big birthday party. "Happy birthday, Sylvia! I'm so happy today. I'm going to eat all of this cake." And that's when it happened. Otto discovered he had diabetes on his daughter's 8th birthday. And here's the kicker. This was the 1930s. Insulin treatment barely existed. The medical advice was basically thoughts and prayers. But Otto, being a proud German man, refused to take it seriously. "Diabetes? Psst, I'm strong. Nothing's going to happen to me. It's not like I'm going to die or anything." Narrator voice. He died. And since Sylvia was so attached to her father, his death absolutely destroyed her. It became the defining trauma of her life, haunting her poems and novels for decades. Years later, in her famous poem, Daddy, she wrote, "I tried to get back to you. I thought even the bones would do." She was still desperately searching for any connection with him, even after death. But life moves on, right? And so did Sylvia. Or at least that's what she thought. She threw herself into her studies, trying to escape the pain. And it worked, sort of. She got straight A's, became a star student. But deep down, she was still haunted by her father's death. And then depression came knocking at her door like an obsessive ex-boyfriend sliding into her DMs. Remember me, my lady? The depression brought insomnia, constant agitation, intrusive thoughts, until one day teenage Sylvia decided, "I'm going to end this depression today, along with my life." So she went home, raided her mother's medicine cabinet, grabbed a handful of sleeping pills, and left a note on the table, "Gone for a walk." Her mother saw the note and thought, "Oh, how nice. She's finally taking her health seriously. Good for her." But Sylvia didn't go for a walk. She crawled under her own house and swallowed all those pills. Yep, under her own house. Days passed. Sylvia didn't come home that night, or the next night, or the one after that. The family panicked and called the police, who searched the entire city. Finally, on day 3, her brother found her lying unconscious in the crawl space beneath their house. She was alive, but barely. They rushed her to the hospital, where doctors gave her electroconvulsive therapy. Spoiler alert, getting shocked doesn't fix your depression. Shocking, right? But this was just suicide attempt number 1, and the word 1 implies there are more to come. Oh boy. But Sylvia's life was about to take a dramatic turn. Fast forward 3 years to 1956. She's at a party in Cambridge, and she meets this guy, Ted Hughes. Tall, brooding, poetic. He asks her to dance. "Hey, want to go boom boom with me?" Very smooth, Ted. By the end of their dance, they kissed. But Sylvia was, let's say, passionate. She kissed him so hard that she actually bit his cheek, and it bled. Ted, shocked. "Did you just bite me?" Sylvia, sorry, I got carried away." Ted, "No, like you actually bit me and drew blood." Sylvia, "I loved it. I've never been kissed like that before. What's your number?" "Yeah, He was a weird dude, but Ted fell hard for Sylvia. So hard that after just 4 months he proposed. They got married and entered this intense, passionate, obsessive relationship, the kind of love that consumes you. They wrote poetry together, inspired each other, had 2 kids, Frida and Nicholas, a picture-perfect family. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, if a man can fall in love with you over just 1 kiss, he can fall in love with someone else over another one. And that's exactly what happened. You see, Ted and Sylvia rented out part of their house for extra cash. One day, a couple showed up to view the place, David and Assia Wevel, and within no time, Ted began having an affair with Assia. He was getting paid rent and getting laid. He was getting that cash and, well, you get the point. But one day, Sylvia found out, and she was absolutely devastated. The one man she loved, the one man she was obsessed with, the one man she bit, he had cheated on her. She divorced him in 1962 and moved with her 2 kids into a flat in London. And Ted, he moved in with Assia. Heartbroken Sylvia did what she always did, distracted herself from pain by working hard. She wrote like a woman possessed. As Taylor Swift would say, she was in her productive queen era. And it was during this time that she wrote Ariel, a collection of poems that would become one of the most significant works in modern poetry. I am inhabited by a cry. Nightly it flaps out, looking with its hooks for something to love. She was desperately searching for anything or anyone to love, yearning for connection. But remember, gentlemen, dying is an art, and she does it exceptionally well. So one day she got in her car and drove straight into a river. But as the car began to sink, she panicked and scrambled out of the water, gasping for air. Well, that didn't go as planned. I need to find a way where I can't just chicken out midway. That was suicide attempt number 2. The sequel came just 1 year later, February 11th, 1963. Early morning, Sylvia woke up, made breakfast for her children and left it on the table. Then she carefully placed wet towels around the kitchen door and windows, making sure no gas would leak out hurt her kids. Then she walked to the oven, placed her head inside, and turned on the gas. This is from one of Sylvia's final interviews. Were you a happy child? I think I was happy up to the age of about 9. I believed in magic, and then at 9 I was rather disillusioned. I stopped believing in elves and Santa Claus, and became more realistic and depressed. I certainly didn't have a happy adolescence. Perhaps that's partly why I turned especially to writing. After Sylvia's death, her cheating ex-husband Ted Hughes got control of her estate and all her unpublished works. And here's where it gets really messed up. He censored her poems. He edited them, toned down her words, made them less fierce, less raw. He tried to sanitize her rage, to rewrite the story of her death as simply the result of her fragile mental state, conveniently leaving out his own affairs. But wait, it gets darker. Remember Assia, the woman Ted left Sylvia for? In 1969, just 6 years after Sylvia's death, Assia also killed herself in the exact same way. She sealed off her kitchen with wet towels, just like Sylvia. She used the oven, just like Sylvia. But tragically, she also took her 4-year-old daughter's life with her. Word spread fast. Ted Hughes became known as the wife killer, the man who had driven not 1, but 2 women to the oven. So now you know the story. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. This is Sylvia Plath's tombstone, and that name, Hughes, her married name, is frequently scraped off by feminist groups who believe Ted doesn't deserve to have his name on her grave. When the family restores it, masculinist groups vandalize it back, removing Plath instead, claiming she should be known only by her married name. These idiots, they were divorced. Sylvia Plath became a feminist icon with lines like, "Every woman adores a fascist," "the boot in the face," "the